I think this is an exciting day for people with Alzheimer's disease. They now have some hope that a drug is going to be on the market that is going to have an impact on the underlying disease process itself. Thus far, drugs that have been approved for Alzheimer's disease have been symptomatic drugs, and they've been marginally successful at treating the symptoms of the disease, but they do not get at the underlying cause. This drug, aducanumab, is thought to act on the amyloid protein in the brain, which is one of the defining features of the disease itself. So by reducing the amount of amyloid in the brain, hopefully the patients will benefit clinically.
Yes, our hope is that it will ignite innovation in this area. You know, for so many years, it seemed almost impossible. There have been so many attempts and so much effort and so much money spent and so many patients involved in clinical trials. And it seemed at one point that it was not going to be tractable. But I think that this approval signals to everybody that it is tractable and that we can do something for Alzheimer's patients. And I believe this will ignite innovation all across the board. And we will move beyond amyloid targeting. We already have several companies with several drugs targeting amyloid, but I think we'll also start to target other essential pathophysiological mechanisms involved in the disease.
This aducanumab is a medicine that gets into the brain at low doses. It breaks up the amyloid plaques and helps to clear them, and hopefully to help slow down memory loss. And this is a drug that can be safely administered. It's given intravenously. And I think that's the beginning of a new treatment era for Alzheimer's.
The question is whether it really has a significant clinical effect or not. The drug does what it is supposed to do biologically. That is, it reduces amyloid in the brain. It removes amyloid from the plaques in the brain. But the question is, does that have a clinically meaningful effect? One study that the sponsor did was positive and one study was negative. And I think the FDA felt that the data from the positive study were sufficiently encouraging to approve it on an accelerated basis such that the drug will be out and available to be used, but the sponsor must do another study to show clinical efficacy to keep the drug on the market. This drug is not a cure for Alzheimer's disease. It's not going to improve their clinical status a significant degree, but it might slow down the rate at which they progress. That is, if somebody is going to become impaired more so in the next year or two, if we can stabilize them at the level at which they are right now, this might be beneficial for them and have a significant impact on not only them, but on their families. So I think that the patients are hopeful. They have to have reasonable expectations of the drug, but I think this is a promising day for patients with Alzheimer's disease.
Well, my colleagues in the U.S. organization have already identified more than 900 sites that are ready. And ready is the definition of ready there is that they have the capacity to do the MRIs, to do the amyloid confirmation if so desired, and to treat patients with IV drugs. And so I think that our hope is that patients who need the drug will have access to it.
So there is going to be a lot of important education that we discuss with patients, with a realistic idea of what this medication is and what it is not. So to make sure that patients understand this is not a cure, that we are hoping that it has some ability to slow down the progression for patients, but that we are ongoing. The learning about this medication is ongoing, and there's much still to understand about how it's working for patients.